5 Hugos, it's 6 Hugos.
I'm sorry.
And you missed the Mystery Writers of America Edgar Allan Poe Award, and the fact that I'm a credit to my race.
Yes, you are, human. But I didn't say that when you went to Ohio State University, you were there for a year and a half, and some writing professor or somebody of that sort said you don't have any talent, go and earn a living in a respectable way. Yeah. You showed him, didn't you?
Yeah, and I told him to go perform hideous obscenities upon himself, and then left. And then I proceeded to go to New York and to this very city and sold like 100 stories the first year full-time writing, and I've sent him not. Up until recently, I sent him a copy of every single thing I ever had published. When I got listed in Who's Who, I had it permaplaque, sent that to him, photos of the awards.
Are you a vengeful guy? I mean, did you take delight in sending that man there?
Oh, yeah, I think revenge is a very terrific, good thing for everybody.
Why?
Because you go through life, and people are constantly gnawing at your vitals. You know, you wake up one morning, and there's some vampire at your throat, and you don't know what to do about it. And you go for 25 years, nudged, and you're really aggravated, and you got to get even. Otherwise, one day you suddenly go up to a Texas tower and start shooting people.
That was the premise upon which we based this program tonight. The last time you were here, I think we were talking about Star Trek. And we talked about how difficult it is for a creative person, be it writer, producer, director, actor sometimes, to sell his or her services to the television networks. And so let's talk about some difficulties you've had.
I had some difficulties in that program. Star Trek people are like fundamentalists, man. I mean,
yes, evangelistic.
Oh, they're terrifying. And they even went and told Gene Roddenberry that I had badmouthed him. And Gene hadn't seen the show, so he didn't know. And until he found out better, I didn't badmouth Gene. Gene's a friend. And what I said was that Paramount was driving him crazy the same as they were driving me crazy. But I got letters telling me to cut my throat, and I was a terrible human being, and all sorts of wonderful things.
But at the time, we talked about vice presidents and other assorted network executives, be it here or across the street, who sometimes have difficulty understanding the creative thrust of a television series.
Well, they're not writers. They don't understand plot. They don't understand story. They'll tell you, you write a script. You spend 3 months writing a script, and you hand it in, and they'll suddenly say something to you like, let's change the hero to a woman. And you begin to tremble, and you say, well, but you can't. Oh, it's just a fix. You can fix that on a weekend. They don't realize that you have to go, people don't think alike, and if you make a man into a woman or vice versa, you've got to alter everything.
Do you think that the network television industry itself is in some kind of trouble, especially in the primetime hours? And the reason I asked that,
absolutely,
there was an article in one of the trade papers the other day about the growing trend towards syndication instead of the networks. Peter Marshall is doing a syndicated show for Westinghouse. Andy Williams is doing a syndicated show for Pierre Cossette Productions.
Mary Hartman
is a syndicated show that is highly rated in every market now. And you have to begin to wonder if possibly a lot of program suppliers and guys like yourself aren't going to go the syndication route instead of selling to the television networks.
Absolutely. It's a place to get more freedom, and the freedom comes not because the quality of thinking is any better on the middle management level, but they're just less creeps to deal with. I mean, whenever you can cut a creep or two out of the firing line, you're in much better shape.
Hey, you've cost yourself money with your attitude, have you not?
Yes, Tom, I have. I know they're going to bleep this. But it's the only word, and I know people can read my lips. I have a very low threshold. I cannot take people lying to me, and they will say things to you and know bloody well that they're going to change it then 15 minutes later.
Who are they, and how have they lied to you?
Okay, take for instance, name names, right?
Yes, sir.
Name names.
As we said when you were here, no holds barred.
Okay, how about if I attack an NBC executive first of all?
Let's say the word is not attack, but you will tell the truth of this person as you perceive it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. There was a gentleman named Stan Robertson, who was vice president. I see you're blanching already. Well, Tom, let's do it. Who was in charge of network television movies. I was engaged to do a project based on the Richard Speck murders. Richard Speck was the guy who slaughtered the 8 nurses in Chicago. And they'd had this project going with Chuck Freeze Productions, who supplies an enormous amount of stuff to the networks. And they couldn't beat the script. They just couldn't figure out how to do a mass murderer without doing a mass murderer. Instead of saying, well, we can't, let's forget it and go on and do Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, they still wanted they wanted their cake and eat it too. They wanted the slaughter, but they didn't want to have to show it. Mm-hmm. So I found a way to do it. I took a parallel of the Speck case, and I took the same psychiatric problems, and I worked with Dr. Marvin Ziporn, the psychiatrist who had worked up the profile on SPECT. And I spent quite a bit of time in Chicago, went to Menard Penitentiary and the St. Charles lockup for boys, and Ziporn was marvelous about it. I spent about 8 months on that thing. It was called The Tigers Are Loose. Robertson was the man who gave us the go-ahead, and he was wildly enthusiastic when we started. I liked the project so much that I said, instead of me writing a treatment, which is what you write before you do the script, and you get short money for that, and then you get the big money when you go into first draft, I said, I want to do it script first. If you like it, you'll pay me first draft and treatment money. If you don't, pay me the treatment money, and that's it. Did this thing as a 2-hour film, and I was enormously pleased with it. In 15 years of working in this cesspool, it is the best single script I ever did, and I really broke my back on it. Took it in. Freeze loved it. The people at his production company loved it. My producer loved it. They took it over to the network. Robertson said, oh, get right back to you. Silence, man. An unearthly hush that one finds only at the center of the earth.
Those are deadly words from a network executive. I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Oh, one could wait a lifetime.
And one did, as a matter of fact. Finally, we get the script back after this wild enthusiasm on his part, and he gave us the go-ahead and put up the money for it, NBC's money, and scribbled across the face of it is totally unacceptable. Couldn't find out why. There were just, random remarks about too much violence, right? What the hell did they expect in a show about a guy?
8 murders, you're going to have some violence.
Right.
Yes.
There has to be a little...
I mean, you don't have to show it, but there's going to be something there that...
I thought perhaps maybe he could use harsh language on them instead, or maybe smack them in the knee. So I was told that it had been rejected by network continuity, the censors. And I said, well, let me talk to the censors. Maybe I can fix it. You can't talk to the censors? What, are you mad? Nobody talks to the great and wonderful wizard, not no time, no how, no where. I said, this cannot be so. So I called them myself and got a very nice man whose name unfortunately has fallen out of my head, a very sweet man. And he said, come on up, we'll talk. So I went in with my producer, and we sat down, and I found that the things that they wanted changed were so minor, so easily fixed. I was able to do it in a very short time. Sent the script back. They called me from their office to say that this man had come out of the office holding the script in his hand, and he said to the people in the office, he said, folks, what we have here is another Emmy winner. This is better than The Glass House. And I thought, I'm in heaven. I'm finally going to get one of my things on the right way. Back to Stan Robertson it went. Theremin music and nothing else, man. I mean, it was forget it time, Jack. It was like Mount Rushmore, nothing.
We must, in Mr. Robertson's defense, say that he was not the man who would make the final decision on whether your project was go or no go. I'm certain he had superiors above him.
Well, there's no way of knowing. You see, that's one of the things. You never know who those shadowy figures on the mountaintop are. Precisely to whom did that project go? Did it ever go anywhere? Or was it kept on Robertson's desk? No one to this day knows.
We're going right to the tank
to the
tonight, aren't we?
right.
Yep. I'm going to go down with you. I'll be with you in the window out there in Beverly Hills, writing the books and everything. That's fine.
I got to tell you, people keep asking me, what do you like? That's the question I keep getting asked. What is Tom Snyder like? I talked to him for an hour. How the hell do I know what he's like? Like he could eat babies for all I know. I don't know what you're like. I know how they treat you in 21. That's awesome. Do you know who they kept waiting while they took care of your table?
No, it was your table. It was your table that night, not mine. No,
only because I picked up the check. That's the only
right,
reason.
but you're going to be reimbursed for it.
But I was wearing your tie, so that's probably why it was my table. See?
Yeah.
They kept Alistair Cooke waiting, Governor Hugh Carey, and George Bush of the CIA, man. And they're following on. Get Snyder a table. Get Snyder a table.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
No. George Bush wasn't there that night.
Yes, he was.
Why didn't you tell me? We'd have brought him over and done a show with him. I would love to know the man. I have never met the man.
Well, he was there. And they kept the push schlepp waiting.
And Alistair Cooke, wonderful man,
Yeah.
did Alistair Cooke's America. Beat me out of an Emmy Award last year. I would have loved to.
I didn't know he owned it.
Said hello. No, he just rented it for 13 programs.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
13 weeks. Listen, I have
Anyhow.
to pause for some announcements now, and more guests, please. We'll be right back with Harlan Ellison after these messages. When somebody asks you, what am I like? I thought you were saying, what do you like? You don't like television an awful lot.
No, that's not true. I do like television.
Yeah, but you like television your way. And it's highly possible that your perception of it in the minds of those who operate television can't work.
I like the same things that people, when they're in their right mind, seem to like. I love the Adams Chronicles. I really enjoy Rich Man, Poor Man, which I am missing at this very moment because I'm sitting here talking to you. I like MASH. I like Mary Tyler Moore. I think The Profession, the new show with Danny Thomas, much as I dislike Danny Thomas.
The Practice.
I'm sorry, is a super duper show. It's funny. It's funny. It makes me laugh. I think it's possible to... You see, people say,
Now, that's interesting because I watched that program the first night it was on. I do this news minute, and so you're sitting in the studio waiting for yourself to go on. And the first show that they did, Danny Thomas did what I thought were some of the worst jokes that we have all heard as kids. At one point, somebody said, "My uncle goes like this and it hurts," and Danny says, "Tell him not to do it anymore."
Yeah.
Now, we've all heard that joke, and I thought, gee, I don't know if that's really...
I don't know why it's kind of it's a latter-day version of The Last Angry Man, Paul Muni movie about the doctor. I don't know why. It makes me laugh. It seems to be a nice little show. I mean, it certainly is not going to alter the course of Western civilization, but that's the point. People always say, "Well, when I get home at night, you know, I've been digging ditches all day, and I just want to sit there and suck up a beer and watch Gilligan's Island reruns." Well, you know, fine. There's room for that on television. There's X number of hours of programming each day. Plenty of room for all of that if they were also doing the other stuff. If they were also doing things that enrich and uplift. It does not seem to me to serve the commonweal to have endless hours of cop shows. Telly Savalas is a kick, and I love Telly Savalas, but how many times can you see him run some junkie down with a car? I mean, it just gets to be a drag after a while. And all the shows are the same way, is what I said to Jimmy Doohan when we were on the show. Star Trek in its way was a cop show, too. There's cowboys who act like cops, and doctors who act like cops, and lawyers who act like cops, and cops who act like cops. And I find shows like SWAT and The Rookies loathsome and detestable in the extreme. They make me want to puke. They really do. Law and Order is, I suppose, a good thing, but too much of it can be a real
But
bummer.
if you are allowed to say that of those programs, then why would you become so riled if somebody at the network level or some viewer said, "I find your shows, Harlan Ellison, loathsome and detestable," or your attitude?
I wouldn't object at all if they'd let them go on. See, I want the same shot that the major producers of these, you know, like Quinn Martin is basically a very nice man, but he produces the same show with 26 different faces. I mean, he's got a fat cop and a cop who limps and an old cop and a blind cop, and it's, you know, it's all the same.
You're going to say bilge, I know.
Bilge again, yes. That isn't quite the word that came to mind. He's got one format, and you could take a script from one show and put it on another, and it would make no difference. And they pass through you those shows like beats through a baby's backside. 5 minutes after you start watching anyone that got to you, did it? 5 minutes after any one of those shows starts, you know the ending. You know exactly where it's going to go.
Well, you can watch any show now, Kojak or Columbo, which are, you know, nice shows. I love all the shows. Telly, Peter, love all your shows. But you watch the first 5 minutes, and then you shut it off. And then you turn on the last 5 minutes, you got the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's all there in front of you.
It's all there.
But do you think that it's different in other disciplines? Is it different in publishing? I mean, don't
absolutely.
they try the switch there?
No, what happens in publishing, you see...
I interviewed a guy once, Harlan, named Henry Slavitt. Not his real name. He wrote a number of books.
David Slavitt.
David Slavitt.
You write under the name Henry Sutton.
Henry Sutton. Right. And he had a book out called The Exhibitionist, and there was a certain scene in that book involving a motion picture producer and 6 women. And the specifics of the scene I won't go into here, although you probably will when you think of it. And they went to the...
They were playing cards.
Yes, they were playing cards. That's right.
I'm not a pervert like you.
No, having a little game of poker.
You know, it's freezing in here.
I know, it's very cold in here. We do that to keep people on their toes. And the publisher said, you know, that scene is so despicable and so awful that I'm not going to publish the book unless you change it to include not 6 girls, but 4.
There's a man with a limited horizon, that's all.
But Slavitt or Sutton changed the story. So now there's a case of creative interference, if you really want to get down to it.
All right, yeah. Of course there is. There's always, there are writers and artists of any stripe who will change their work for whatever reasons. I'm very sticky about it. I resist that kind of thing. If I do it right, fine. But I've had producers and editors say to me, "Hey, look, take a look at this, and this doesn't seem right." And I'll look at it and I'll say, "Yeah, you're right. The words are not engraved in gold, but they are my words, and I want them done the way I want them. I don't want some other head changing them. I don't want some clown who comes in, you know, who was in the mailroom 4 days ago, coming in and rewriting my story," which is what happened.
You know, you're being outlandish now. You really are.
Why?
Well, those people weren't in the mailroom 4 days ago.
Oh, really?
8 days ago.
8 days ago. I have never seen anything like it in my life. Movies and television are an art form. Granted, they are an art form by committee. They're a cooperative one where a writer writes and then a director directs and a producer produces. That's fine. You understand that. That's a given.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the people who make the creative decisions are businessmen. They think because they lay out the buck that they have the intellect to know what art is. Clearly, this is not so. The last time that happened was the Pope. You know, when will the Sistine Chapel ceiling be done? When it's done, dummy. You know, that's the last time. What we've got now are CPAs, for God's sakes, in charge of all the studio. Horror story. Horror story. Now, let me say that. I got a better one. How about if I get ABC now? Let me get ABC.
Hold it. Let's pause for a few announcements, and we'll get ABC in 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Okay.
They're having a great year. They can stand it. We'll be right back. It's an ABC story.
An ABC story, yeah. The dude I'm about to tell about is a guy named Steve Gentry, for whom I will never work. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a thing for ABC right now.
There are probably a lot of guys for whom you will never work.
Oh, hey. You know, that town has more blacklists going than Carter has little liver pills. I hope that isn't a plug. It's, you know, it's a phrase, folks. It's a phrase. The blacklists are all word of mouth kind of numbers. Like,
incidentally, from before, Drek is out, but Banyo is in.
Banyo is in.
Banyo.
I wanted to substitute Kaka, but they wouldn't.
No Kaka.
No Kaka. Okay.
Banyo, good.
Duty. You think she'd let Duty go through?
Duty.
Duty is never. Flotsam is.
You mean as in Howdy Doody?
Right.
Right.
Howdy Doody is okay. I was up for a job. I was up for a big movie a couple of weeks ago, and the producer came over and he read my books and he read a couple of my scripts and he said, "You're right for it. You're absolutely right for it." He went to the people at Paramount and they said, "No, we don't want to go that way. We don't want to go what way? We don't want that way." That way was with me, right?
Off of Ellison Street, real fast, right?
I'm considered a troublesome person. The reason I'm a troublesome person is because I give enough of a damn about what I write that I won't let people just potchkey with it for pleasure. When I go in for a network meeting, I usually wear this T-shirt. I hope you'll be able to read this. If you can't read it, have your parents read it to you. Don't move your lips. This is a quote from Bertolt Brecht. It says, "Each day I journey to the marketplace where lies are bought. Hopefully I take my place among the sellers." And I wear this so that they know that they can't buy my soul, but they can rent my talent. They don't like that too much. They don't think that's very nice of me. And
is it?
Well, I don't know. I don't think
isn't a part of life compromising, playing the game, if you will, to achieve a goal somewhere down the line?
Man, that is the excuse for all politicians, and that is the excuse for all the little compromises that everybody makes in life. You know, I consider myself an enormously lucky person because very early on in life, I got put in a hard place where I had to find out whether or not I would give.
Where was that?
It was the first time I was called a kike. Was in Champion Junior High School. Well, no, actually, before that, it was in Lathrop Grade School in Painesville, Ohio, a really loathsome place. And kid called me a kike, and he was a big guy.
Tall.
Oh, everybody was tall. I was a dwarf, you know. I'm a troll, man. I represent the Lollipop Guild, And here I was, you know, come on, you know, I tag his knee, and guy just beat at me like a Hong Kong gong, man. I mean, it was dreadful, but I had to do it. And if you once get put into a position where you can't weasel, where you really have to make the decision and you have to go or no go, then you find out whether you've got it or not. And I did that, and I don't consider it any great mark of courage. It's just
What'd you do? Did you pop him?
Oh yeah, I went at it. Yeah. You know, I went at it. They carried me off the playground, but I went at it, and I've been doing that ever since. And it's just because I can't do anything else. It really, I mean, guys like Audie Murphy, you know, like charging over the hill and killing 2,000 of the enemy. I don't think they really do it out of any courage. They do it because they go berserk, and they can't help themselves. They just can't not do it. And it's the same today. Do you go a little berserk? Oh, I go very berserk.
Yeah, crazies. Huh?
I go very crazy.
Sure. I get the crazy, sure.
You have to. You have to. Otherwise, they will kill you. They'll turn you into something very soft and squishy. And when I go into a network meeting, go into Steve Gentry, and I get this one. I get a call from Chuck Free's office. Again, Chuck Freeze from where I done the project.
Okay. Yeah.
Chuck
Freeze had done the
Tigers Are Loose project.
The Spec project. Good.
Call me up a few weeks later.
The one that's in Banyo.
In Banyo, right. Yeah. In Limbo. They call me up and they say, "We got a fabulous idea for a series. We want you to write it." I said, "What's the fabulous idea?" You know, I think maybe they're going to give me, Moby Dick. They say, "Atlantis." Okay. That's it. That's it, Jack. Atlantis, that's it. I said, "Oh, do you think you can do it?" Do I think I can do what? Can you write Atlantis? In other words, what they're saying is we have a word. Here is the word We will
now you go beat your brains out and make it fly.
Right, make it a series, make something out of it, create a story, create characters, create a continuity so that we can sell it to a network.
But if we don't like it, we're going to throw it away.
Right, and you're not going to get paid a dime. We go in to see Steve Gentry. And I've had a number of meetings with Steve Gentry, who is not going to like me a lot after this program. Since I'm doing a movie for them right now that comes out of another production outfit, I'll probably be cut off. I'll get, the word will be at the hotel
tomorrow.
Why
do you do this to yourself?
Why do I do it? I don't know.
Will you forgive me a question?
Yeah.
Do you think they're all still calling you a kike? And you have to fight back at them?
Well, yeah, but in a very subtler way. I mean, I don't worry about that anymore. I mean, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that I only have one allegiance. I mean, if tomorrow they put one of those loyalty oaths in front of me, are you loyal to the United States of America or are you loyal to your writing? Forget it, Jack. The country can sink into the ocean for all I care. I only care about the integrity of the work. That's really all I give a damn about. And I'll kill to keep those words that way. I mean, I've spent 20 years of my life doing what I do, and I think I do it very well indeed. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let people mess with it. That's my religion. That is precisely where I am. And when I go in and give them an idea, I'm willing to alter the idea, reasonably. But
within certain frameworks.
Yeah.
To maintain the integrity of your idea.
To make it stupid, to dumb it up because they believe.
If your lead guy if the lead is a man, you don't want somebody to change it to a woman.
Unless it works as a woman. If it works as a woman.
But if it can't work in your mind, there's no compromise on that.
Listen, I had a producer named Stan Spetner, who I worked for at Universal on The Sixth Sense, which was on ABC for a very brief time, who once said to me when I presented him with some ideas that I wanted to turn into scripts, and they were pretty good ideas. He said, no, we don't want those kind of ideas. We don't want those kind of. He said, what you've got to realize is that we're doing the Saturday morning funnies for these people. They're all monkeys out there. Now, he really believed that. And I believe a lot of other people in the industry believe that too. They believe that everybody watching television
is a yummy.
Is an absolute cadote right off the hayrack, for crying out loud. That they haven't got the brains God gave them. And so they program lower and lower and lower, and they give them the Little House on the Prairie, and they give them more Rookies, and they give them more SWAT, and people's brains are turning to prune whip yogurt, for crying out loud. People need to have something that their brains can masticate, and they don't get it. And that's why I do it. It's infuriating to me to see this kind of medium that's available for such uplift, for such good things, just even simple good drama, nothing even better, or good comedy, being frittered away, being used to sell toilet paper. Toilet paper is a nice thing, but if you don't have it, use a Sears catalog. There's always something else. The important thing is the preservation of art. And people are so afraid of the word
two
art.
Interesting things to mention in the same sentence: bathroom tissue and the preservation of art.
Well, I mean, Martin Luther believed a good bowel movement was the most uplifting thing a human being could indulge in. Yeah. Well, he's a very uptight gentleman, which explains Calvinism. I believe in Lutheranism.
And you think the guy named Gentry is going to be upset. We will continue after these announcements.
You just lost Tennessee.
Right, there it goes. Right after these announcements, we'll be back with Harlan, Ellison. And well, you've already told me you got into a fight when you were 13 years old.
No, very much younger than that. 13 was already, I was on the road when I was a little kid.
When you left Ohio State and you came to New York, how did you start writing here?
Well, I mooched off a couple of fellow writers, older ones, Lester Del Rey and Algis Budrys, who got me started. And then I moved into a sleazy room way uptown on West 114th Street, and Robert Silverberg was in the same building, and I just started writing and submitting stories around and kept getting them turned out. I got a story. This is one of the great unsolved mysteries of all time. There was a magazine called Manhunt. Manhunt was a crime magazine, pocket-sized one, and it was the market to hit back around 1955, 56. Everybody wanted it, and it was it was publishing all the big mystery writers of the time, and I hungered to sell to that magazine. I wrote a story and mailed it out at about 7 o'clock in the morning. I worked all night on it, and I mailed it out at 7 o'clock in the morning. We got a late mail that day. It came in at 3 o'clock. It was back here in New York City. It had been read. It obviously been read. Let the post office do that today. I mean, that would be a nice thing. I got a lot of rejections, and I just kept writing. And how interesting is this to your audience?
No, it's quite interesting because many people who are writers or would like to be writers think of New York, Los Angeles, Chicago as places to go to write. Mm. But many come here and go away in despair.
Well, they should. They deserve to. See, it's a very simple philosophy. Anybody who can be deterred from writing should have been. People who want to write really want to write, and they will write. Whether they're living out in, there's a woman named Kelly who did a book called Weeds years ago in the 20s, 30s, and the book was, came out and vanished, and she did a couple of other books, and she lived off on a farm up and finally moved to California. The woman had to write. She wrote. If I were on the proverbial desert island, I would write the things and attach them to the back of a Galapagos tortoise in hopes that they would get out somewhere. People are always saying, well, I have this great book and no one will buy it. That is
not true.
Not true. It is not true.
Not true.
There are
false. It's a falsehood.
No great unpublished works in this country at the moment. And if there are, it's because people don't have the guts to send them out to market. And that's all it takes.
But doesn't the fact that you've succeeded sort of give the lie to some of the ranting and raving that you go through for your own self? Whether it be television network executives.
Well, succeed where? Succeed how?
Well, you're a successful writer. You've published 30 books.
Yeah.
Your name is known and is legend among those people who follow your works and who are hearing of them through programs such as this and others. All right?
But I guarantee
and you're successful. You strived. You came to New York. You persevered. You said, I stayed up all night. I sent it in the mail. I mean, you really busted your gut to write.
Yeah.
And the writing profession was good back to you.
Yeah.
It didn't throw you out.
Yeah, and
you're not going to get cut out of the movie.
And Jacqueline Suzanne will still sell more copies of her book, And Jacqueline Suzanne at her best.
Do you worry about how many people buy your books?
Yes.
You do?
I worry about it greatly. You know why I worry?
No.
Because if I didn't worry, I would be saying that what I'm doing is not significant enough for me to be pushing. I don't believe that humbleness is not. I try humbleness. God knows I've tried humbleness. I really try.
There are two great sins, false pride and false humility.
I don't wear it well. I just don't wear it well. I love what I do, and I think I do it awfully good, awfully well. Boy, was that bad. And when I see someone like a Jacqueline Suzanne, whose first book was bought onto the bestseller list. I mean, I was working on the bloody screenplay of it before it was even published at 20th. And I know how that book became a bestseller. And if people knew, they would feel like absolute dupes. But those things happen. And a writer like Eric Siegel, oh, God, spare me from Jonathan and Livingston Siegel. He's his stuff is the lowest possible common denominator of human emotion. And people sit there and they read it and they weep piteously and they go to the movie and they watch Ally McGraw dying from a disease which kills but does not wither, and pseudo-necrophilia as Ryan O'Neal flings himself onto the bed. She says, no, crawl up onto the bed with me. And people are groping for digitalis through the theater. I'm sitting there and laughing. And the woman's saying, you're a monster, you're a monster. People have been so inundated with it for so long. It's like top 40 rock. There's so much garbage that the good stuff becomes noise, background noise. If you're in a car with a person who has been brought up on nothing but rock all his or her life, and you're going past you go past on the dial, and you hit classical music, and you want to hear it that's like static to them. They'll instantly turn it until they can get the Eagles. I mean, I dig the Eagles too, but I don't think that means that there should not be a world with Charles Ives in it. It seems to me that the more garbage you dump on people, the more people get used to garbage. Look how many people eat. I mean, that is not food. What are they sponsor?
I don't know why we're dragging those poor people into this conversation. They have nothing at all to do with creativity.
Well, they do. Yes, they do. Look, classic example of the plasticization of this country. Every nation is famous for some kind of food, right? The French have their wines. In Brazil, it's the rolls. In Germany, you get great knockwurst. What do we export? You can go into any city in America. I was in Calgary, Canada. Calgary, bloody Canada, lecturing about a month ago. Okay?
I'm just sitting here trembling, wondering where the next piece is going to fall.
and Calgary is like the Tulsa of Canada. It's all American oil dudes in there, right? And you go down the main street, and I swear to God, it looks like Garden Grove, California. There's your motels and the bowling alley and the Akron,
filling station,
McDonald's and the Kentucky Colonel, or whatever that is they give you. You know what I hate? Let me get to the Colonel.
I know what you hate.
I hate mediocrity.
But ranting about mediocrity isn't going to change it.
Well, hey, give me the bomb. Give me the bomb.
No, the bomb won't change it. They build it all back again the way it is now.
What are you to say to people? Are you to say to people, look, you can...
I want to go back to why it's important to you that your books sell more copies than Jacqueline Suzanne's.
Because I write better.
I know you write better. Hey, I think I do some things better than the other people who are on this thing, but if one person is watching or 10 million are watching, don't you owe whatever audience you have your very best without worrying about numbers?
You can't separate, Tom. It seems to me to succeed in the arts in America today, one has to have a schizoid personality. There's the artist who does the work with what Balzac called clean hands and composure, without compromises, okay? When it's done, then you say to the artist, thank you for having done a good job, go catch some sleep, and you bring out the rapacious businessman, the person who is willing to sit on a television show like this, which is a hype. This program is a hype. I have nothing more to say. I mean, why should anybody sit and listen to me, for God's sake? You could have Buckminster Fuller up here. That's someone to listen to, but they won't listen to Buckminster Fuller. Why? Because he isn't Zsa Zsa Gabor with a beehive hairdo. That's why. I come on here and people send me letters. I get 200 pieces of mail a day. They tell me that I'm the savior.
That you should say that. I did a show a long time ago in a terrible location with Buckminster Fuller, and the producers had said, you must ask Mr. Fuller to explain how a straight line is not the shortest distance between 2 points.
And he took 4 weeks to do it.
It took him a long time to do it.
Well,
and it seemed to be boring.
Tom, the lesson in that is the same lesson.
And maybe I should be ashamed of myself, because I said when it was all over, I said, I really don't know if that's going to sell. And maybe that was just the wrong thing for me to say.
Life is not a John Wayne movie. There are not guys in black hats and white hats. That is not the way it works. It does take time to explain a complex idea. That's the difference between Art and Eric Siegel and Jacqueline Suzanne. Everything is boiled down to simplistics for them. And an awful lot of people have very complex lives. It is not an easy world in which we live, he said, pontificating. And so they want to go for easy solutions. They want to believe that you can do that. That if you punch someone in the mouth, there is this eloquent vocabulary of a fist in the face. And that you can settle things that way. But that doesn't settle things. It doesn't. And not in art. And I think the reason that I am concerned that my books sell well and get around to people is that, for better or worse, whatever it is I know, I want them to know. Let them accept or reject. But at least give me a shot, for God's sakes. Let me have my chance. When I go past Brentano's window, all I see is Irving Wallace and Jacqueline Suzanne and a whole horde of people who are writing books that are not what they should be. And Nabokov is not there, usually. And Borges is not there, usually. And a writer like Kate Wilhelm, who's a brilliant writer. She's one of the best writers in the country today. You'll never see her books in the window of Brentano's, because it's a little more difficult than the new Irving Wallace. And I think it's good for people to struggle with what they're reading. I think it's good for them to work a little harder at it. I think things come too easily. I think we sit and watch programs like this, where ideas are boiled down so that a mongoloid could understand. And now we'll get letters from people who have children who are, mongoloids, saying you're a beast. I think that simplifying ideas too much distorts them. And I think that's what television does.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is any great forum for wisdom, but I'm glad you're here tonight.
Oh, well.
And we will continue after these announcements. Please stay tuned.
Now you're upset.
No, I'm not upset. I feel great about it. I'm not upset, but I just don't know why every single, what's the word I'm looking for? Every single blank has to be a confrontation.
Because that's what life is. It is a confrontation. That is what life is composed of, an endless series of confrontations with the society in which one lives, with one's fellow man and woman, and with oneself. That is what life is all about. That's why you can never get rid of violence on television, because life is, to a greater or lesser degree, violent. And the intensity of the confrontation, the revelations of the human condition that come out of those confrontations, is what makes enlightening drama, makes art for us. We must learn from what we read. We can't keep getting our brains massaged. We have to have the confrontation so that when they come to us in real life, we have some well of information to go to. Did you want to do some commercials?
Yeah, I really want to do this break now, and then we will continue. Please stay tuned. Manager of KCRA in Sacramento,
Getting this program for the first time?
carrying our show tonight for the very first time,
Poor soul.
and coming in the morning and seeing the phone report saying, get those loonies off my station.
God, how terrible, how terrible. Yeah, but you see, the only thing that we're on opposite is Cal Worthington. So, for those who don't know Cal Worthington, he's a car dealer in California. And very interesting. Did I ever tell you the story about, remember before Cal Worthington, there was...
what's his name?
Ralph Williams.
Hi, folks. Ralph Williams here.
Amazing story about
I bought
Ralph
a car
Williams.
from Ralph Williams one time.
Do you want to know what happened?
Well, I bought 2 cars from Ralph Williams.
Let me tell the story already, for
They were
God's sake.
great cars. I've since sold them. But
He bought the joint from Leon Ames, who was an old actor, and it was Leon Ames Ford, and Leon Ames was the old-time actor who had the car lot.
Right.
And he married Leon Ames' daughter, and he became the manager of the place, and he was a dynamite manager. He sold like crazy. One day, as I understand it from an ex-LA cop, Leon Ames got kidnapped
I covered that story for KTLA in
by
Los
2 or
Angeles.
3 huge thugs. And he calls up Ralph Williams at the lot, and Ralph says, "Leon, what's the matter? I'm selling a 32 Chevy wagon to a couple from Inyo. What do you want?" He said, "Forget the wagon. I'm kidnapped. I'm in a motel, and they want $150,000. Bring it in a satchel. Well, can I sell the car? Forget the car, Ralph. It's over here immediately, right? So all right. Now you got to know, Ralph Williams is, first of all, 8.5 feet tall. Looks like a slab. Charlton Heston looked like a teeny weeny. So he goes and he gets his $150,000 in cash, and he puts it in a satchel, and he goes out to this Fakakta motel way out in Japip, and one of these dudes opens the door with a Magnum in his hand and aims it at him, and Ralph Williams kind of looks around, smashes the door into the guy, breaks his brain, hits the other guy with the satchel, knocks him across the room, breaks every bone in his body, turns around and says, "You okay, Leon?" "Yeah, I'm okay. Come on, Leon." Takes him back to the lot and sold the car.
And sold the 32 on that right now.
I could not believe my eyes.
Why did you write it? It's a great story.
It
ought to be told.
Well, it's a little late now. He's not the, he was on the Carson show and everything. He was the man. Now it's Cal Worthington with that funny hat.
Why do you live in California?
I love it. I used to live here. And I wouldn't forget this town, Jim. Oh, it's like Dresden after the firebombing. I mean,
Well, you've just talked about the beauties of Garden Grove and a few other places out
Well, that's out. I'm not there, man. I'm in the middle of L.A. I'm on the side of a mountain, right at Mulholland. Whoa, forget that.
Tell what happened the last time you were on the show.
Yeah, the last time I was on the show, I got eggs thrown against my house by some pusillanimous little pismire. And I know you're out there, you egg sucker, and I'm going to get you. You know I'm going to get you one day soon. You watching? Uh-huh.
Why do people do things like that, I wonder?
They're frustrated.
It's okay not to like you. That's okay, isn't it? They don't have to throw eggs against your house. Say, hey, I don't like the way you think. That's all.
Well, maybe they figure my coming in on their TV set is my version of throwing eggs at them. So I really can't get all that upset about it. But it's just kind of dumb throwing eggs. I mean, if they really want to come and brace me, come face to face, so that I can, pull off their nose and stuff it in their ear, which is my way of saying
thank you. Thank you, America.
Cared enough to give you the very best. Right.
Well, we're out of time now. It's been an awfully fast hour, and I want you to come back in a couple months, and we'll do this again sometime.
Okay.
I think
next time I come back, can I tell you how I found out I was a star?
Yeah, and I want to tell you something. You know what's good about doing this? Ventilation.
Yeah.
Ventilation never hurt. Thanks, Harlan.
Thank you, Tom.
We'll be back after this.
So there'll be no confusion.